It is time to revolutionize your marketing. You're in the right place at the right time because John Petros Sr. is here live at 5 Eastern every Friday to help you revolutionize your marketing. My name is Sue Roscoff, and I'm here with the World of Ability Podcast Network, and I could not be happier to be bringing in your wonderful host, John Petros Sr. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Sue, and you?
Doing great. And I understand you've got an amazing guest joining you today, too.
I do. This is going to be a very interesting show for everyone to listen to. And folks, welcome to Revolutionize Your Marketing. This is the place to be if you need help. Let's bring our guest in. Igor, can
Oh,
I always
yep.
mess up that last name?
Hello. Well, thank you for having me.
So why don't we start off, let people know where you are and how you got to do what you're doing today.
I am in Boston, Massachusetts. So originally I came from Ukraine 33 years ago. And should I just go to the story? um,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. I came from Ukraine as an exchange student, immigrant, refugee 33 years ago with a violin and $50, as I always say. It's a fun story. It's a fun fact. And I learned English. Then I took a few classes, started to learn computers. 4 years later, I was studying computer science at MIT. 4 years after that, I joined the company that became a public company. I was the second person in that company, and today it's a huge place. Um, but main thing throughout my life, I was always trying to sort of push myself and learn more about things around me. Um, and only halfway through my life, in my mid 30s, I started wondering, why is my life not where I wanted to be? So even though I was on paper pretty smart, I acquired a lot of different skills. Um, I looked around and I saw, why am I not then free to do whatever I want to do? I don't have the financial freedom, time freedom. I'm doing what I like, but I'm not where I want to be. And that sort of woke me up a little bit. I realized that even though I was acquiring all these different types of knowledge, the knowledge that's really important about how to live a successful life, somehow that missed me. I didn't get it from my parents. I didn't get it from the media. I didn't get it from anyone else. It's kind of bypassed me. And I also realized that, well, the life that I created, who is responsible for that life? Me. Well, how did I create that life? I created it with my own beliefs, with my own thoughts at the time, in the past, right? Whatever you think, whatever you believe becomes your reality. So if I didn't create the life that I would really want to have, that means that I am not thinking the right way. I'm not believing the right. I have belief structures that do not serve me, that lead me down the wrong path, or at least not the path that I would prefer for myself. But I'm unconscious of those beliefs. I'm unaware. So I started educating myself and looking for people that would enlighten me on the subject, and that's what brought me into the study of martial arts for the fifth time in my life. I did it 5 times before, and I never truly understood what martial arts was really about. Um, most people think martial arts is about fighting, self-defense. It's about, maybe fitness. Some say discipline. It goes way, 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 way deeper than that. Martial arts is just an instrument at the end of the day. But what is it an instrument for? It's an instrument to work on yourself, to increase your awareness, increase your focus. Because if you're not aware of something, you cannot do anything about it, right? If you're not aware that certain type of food you're eating is destroying your body, there's no need to change that because it doesn't hurt yet. You're not aware. If you're not aware that whatever you say affects the other person in a negative way, there's no need to change that because you're not aware. If you're not aware of opportunities that come your way, maybe even every single day, that could lead you to freedom and all kinds of other great things, but you're not aware of them. So you miss them, misinterpret them. So, and end up
Yeah.
continue to live the life on autopilot, right? So awareness ends up being the most important quality and thing that you need to work on. But how do you work on awareness? It's a very vague term. For most people, it's very vague. And the way we do it with martial arts, you start with the body. It has to start with something physical, something that you can see. So the way you move your body, when you learn complicated forms and movements, you start to connect your brain to your physical body first. You become aware of your weaknesses. You become aware of your strength. Oh, I didn't know that this rubs me the wrong way. I didn't know that I was impatient. I didn't know that I don't really handle challenges that well. I didn't know that my right arm is so weak, or my stomach is not, or my legs are not as strong, right? But so martial arts really becomes like a mirror. It's a very honest mirror of who you are, what you're capable of doing, what you're not capable today, but can be if you train. So as you start working, so that's why today I teach people. I use martial arts to really wake people up, enlighten people. It's not a career or a profession to me anymore. Sort of my personal freedom, I've long achieved that, and I haven't worked for money in a decade. So my sort of mission in life has become, well, if I was able to use this knowledge to get my life to like my dream, create my dream life, then I want to share that with others. I want to show others how to do that with themselves. So again, most people, they think of their families, they think about building their business, but in order to have a successful business or a great family, you have to first start with yourself. You have to make sure that you're great. You're great physically, you're great mentally, emotionally. And when you work on yourself, like you would work on mastering any type of skill, then everything else will fall into place in due time. Be that your business, be that your relationship with others, your the meaning that you actually have in what you're doing, everything will fall into place at the right time. So that's kind of the brief. I'll have to stop because otherwise I'll just keep going.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't realize that um, the a lot of people think the mind controls the body, but the body also controls the mind in a way too. So they have
Absolutely.
to work together. A lot
When
of
you
people
strengthen
don't realize that.
when you strengthen the body, it strengthens the mind. The stronger the body becomes, that makes your mind stronger. And then in turn, the mind becomes stronger. It forces the body to get even stronger because you can now push yourself more. The body becomes even stronger. You're now mentally more strong. So if your body is weak, you're mentally weak. If you're mentally weak, chances are your body is also pretty weak. So you can either go spiraling down or you can spiral upwards, right? So one of the things that we say in martial arts, you're either growing or dying. Um, like anything in nature, right? A flower either blossoming and
Yeah,
becoming more beautiful or it's wilting away. So if you know that that's the only two choices you have, what choice would you choose for yourself, right? And if you choose, well,
yeah,
I want to grow, well, saying that is not enough. You actually need to do something that will make you grow, and that means physically, you're every day you become a little bit stronger because you're training yourself. You're becoming a little bit more patient, a little bit more confident, a little bit more willpower because you're actually doing something every day that develops those qualities. If you're not doing that, reading books and just thinking about it is not good enough because it's like reading about violin playing. You can read about violin playing all day long or piano playing. You're not going to become a violinist, any better violinist than you were yesterday just by knowing a little bit more about a violin. And that's where the confusion with a lot of people comes. They read a book like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and it makes sense to them, right? And they think, well, yeah, I agree with that. It makes sense. What they don't realize that they don't really know it because they don't have the results in their lives to back it up, because that's the ultimate litmus test whether you know something or not. Do you have the results in your life that prove that you do? We all recognize the
yeah,
truth. We're able to recognize the truth when we see it, when we recognize it, but we confuse recognizing something to be true with actually knowing and applying and having the results of that knowledge. So, and that's what martial arts does. We are very honest with each other. And more importantly, you become honest with yourself because you see your strong and weak sides very clearly.
Yeah.
And when you become aware of those that you're weak or strong at something, then you can do something about it. If you're not aware that you're weak, you can't fix it. You don't know. You think you're okay, and most people kind of go through life and they think they're okay. Okay in comparison to what, right? So another sort of
Yeah.
side of main thing, sort of main differentiator of the types of martial arts that I teach. So we teach a medicinal lineage of martial arts. It's a 2,600-year-old tradition. So it's not just like, Igor's karate school that I studied on because I learned a few cool karate movements. No, it's actually part of a long lineage that's actually rooted in Eastern medicine. So every form, every movement that we teach has medicinal application, which means that you can actually use these movements to heal your body, to not just externally, but internally, organs, immune system, lymph system, uh, nervous system, specific organs, because just like
Mm.
acupuncture does or acupressure, the best way to heal your body is through movement. That's the Eastern medicine. The true Eastern medicine is actually movement. That's number one, the most preferred go-to way. If that fails, then you go
Yeah.
to like things like acupuncture, acupressure, etc., etc. But if you can fix yourself through movement, then that's what you should do. So it
Yeah.
goes deep. It's hard to get into everything that it does, within one
Yeah.
conversation. So
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're talking about movement, it's not just regular, ordinary, everyday movement. I
no,
mean, that's
not,
good for you, but
it's not enough.
the form
I
you're
can,
talking. Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes I compare, you know, the West or Western culture, just people in the West. It's a relatively young culture. I mean, think about it: jogging and lifting weights, and showed up like in the 70s, and it became like the craze, and everybody just thinks that that's the epitome of, you know, keeping yourself healthy and fit, which is not even nearly sufficient enough to keep your body healthy, but people don't know it. I compare that, like if
Yeah.
you need nutrition for your body, right? But lifting weights and running or doing bicycling is like eating bread and butter. You can survive, you can be all right on bread and butter, but there's all kinds of other food you can eat to make sure that you're healthy. And that's kind of my comparison.
Yeah.
So what the type of movements that we do, they differ because it's connected to internal martial arts. Internal martial arts is specific kinds of movements that they start to sort of stimulate the meridians. I mean, meridians is like pathways of energy in your body. So you start to stimulate your organs in a specific way, your meridians, energy starts to flow unimpeded to every part of your body. And that's what really makes your body healthy from inside out. If you just lift weights and run or do cardio, it's good for your heart, it's good for your muscles, but you're missing a lot of other aspects of the body, like ligaments, tendons, connective tissues, your even internal strength, which is again a very foreign concept to most people. Um, what is internal versus
Yeah.
external? The best example I can tell you is like there's a farmer strength versus a bodybuilder strength. So all of your Western gym type stuff, it's like almost like a bodybuilder strength, right? Bodybuilder has big muscles, they look great,
Yeah.
but a farmer can take a huge sack of potatoes and throw it over, on top of a roof of a high shed, and like something the bodybuilder will never be able to do because they're not
Yeah.
able to use their whole body as one integrated unit, and that's where the sort of that internal strength comes from. If you haven't, if you, in a way, if you don't have it, it's hard to understand what it is. But it's easy to experience it. The moment you start going through martial arts classes, you'll right away understand the difference. And that can take a person
Yeah.
that goes to the gym 6 days a week, and it's doesn't make any difference to me. Could be a young person going to the gym 6 days a week. I can bring them to their knees within 5 minutes because it's a completely orthogonal set of
Yeah.
movements and strength. And it's actually, that's the movement, that's the type of strength that you actually need for your longevity as you get older. It's really all about internal, because you don't die because you have a small bicep. Nobody dies from a small bicep, but you die
Yeah.
because your organs fail: liver, heart, kidneys, pancreas, right? So you're much better off, especially after the age of 35, 40, doing movements and developing in your body in such a way that your organs become stronger, your immune system, lymph system, nervous systems become stronger, because that affects the quality of your life in your 70s, 80s, etc. So that's the
Yeah.
medicinal aspect. It's connected to everything else, but it's, again, just one little slice of what martial arts
Yeah.
training is about.
Let me ask you, for people listening out there or listening to the recording of this, is there something that you can describe to them that they could start off? Like
Yeah.
something brief that they can do themselves
Well,
right away?
yeah. Well, the easiest, every lesson in the school starts with a very simple exercise. It's a breathing exercise. We sit on the floor cross-legged. We lift our arms up. You can't see my arms, right? To the ceiling, and you learn to breathe, and it's called abdominal breathing. So you're breathing from your diaphragm, right? When you're breathing in through your nose, but you're actually expanding your abdomen first. You don't move your chest. And then you breathe out, you squeeze that abdomen, and then push all the air out. So what that does, it increases the amount of oxygen and air that you're able to take in, because you end up using the whole volume of your lungs. When people especially when you're nervous, or even when we grow up, we become self-conscious and we start to breathe with our chest, and the breathing becomes very shallow, and that affects everything, everything in the body. So you want to go back to that, abdominal breathing, that the way babies breathe. If you look at a newborn baby that's laying on their backs, you'll see their belly moving up and down when they breathe, because they haven't yet been brainwashed by society that it's not cool to move your stomach, right?
Hmm.
So they breathe in the most natural way and the healthiest ways possible. That's the type of breathing you want to go back to. And even if you're stressed, if you just start breathing deeply, expanding your abdominal area, even taking 10 deep breaths like that will bring you down. Um, so
Yeah.
that's just a very basic thing. People listening at home, one of the most important things I'd like to get across is that it doesn't matter what challenges you're facing in life. It doesn't matter whether it's money, whether it's relationship, whether it's whoever. Uh, Instead of sort of pointing blame to the outside, or trying to rationalize why you're in that situation or this situation, you have to take responsibility for everything that's happening to you. Not blame yourself, just take
Yeah.
responsibility and recognize that you have full control over that, as long as you're willing to change how you respond to everything around you. That's where power comes from. Once you do, you're at charge, you have power. As long as you keep blaming others or rationalizing things away, you're giving your power away to that external factor, and you're in the victimhood mode. So, and that's kind of it's a divide that separates people. Either you're above it or below. Once you're above it, it's a no-brainer. You get it, and you live your life like that. And the closer to 100% responsibility you take, the more your life ends up being exactly the way you want it. And the less, anywhere in between, you're somewhere in between. And if you're below 50%, if you end up blaming others more than you take responsibility for, then you're actually really suffering. But really, even if you're in the middle or in the 70% or 80%, but you want to get to 100, just take responsibility. Start doing something every day that makes you better. See, there's a lot of
Yeah.
in the Western world, we look at things in terms of therapy, right? This guy needs therapy. That something is wrong with me. I need therapy. I don't look at it that way. Now, this is just my opinion, so I'm not inviting an argument. The way I look at things is that just because you're 30 years old or you're 50 years old it doesn't mean that you understand very basic principles of the way life works, the way energy works. And it's not your fault necessarily, you just didn't pick it up. But it's not that, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means that you need to start educating yourself on the subject. So instead of waiting until things break down and then you go and, someone fix me. I need therapy, I need a doctor because something is wrong with me. I say, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just unaware that you do not understand certain fundamental principles of life. So become a student of those principles, and over time, you're going to resolve and prevent and circumvent all the challenges that we face in life, or at least you'll be much better positioned to handle those challenges so that they don't break you. So take responsibility. I could describe what I'm saying also in terms of even quantum physics. I don't know how far you want to go. In the quantum physics, there's a very basic notion that the act of consciousness or observing something or being conscious of something changes the physical nature or the material nature of things.
Yeah.
That's a proven fact. For those that are interested, you should look up a double slit experiment on YouTube or anywhere else, and you'll see interesting facts about even what current science understands. So if consciousness can change physical nature, the physical universe, well, why wouldn't you think that with what you decide to focus on, what you decide to notice and observe, would not change your reality as well? So
Yeah.
and that's the ancient truths, ancient wisdom of the people from thousands of years ago. They were trying to educate people on that fact, but 2000 years ago, there was no science, there was no language of quantum physics even that could even remotely begin to describe the way things really are. You have a language that's suited to sell potatoes on the market. And using that language, you're trying to describe very high level laws of energy and the way things work. And that's why there's a lot of misunderstanding in those teachings. And a lot of sort of people disregard and, just ignore or miss the very fundamental truths that are, inside those teachings as well. So,
Yeah. That's like with business owners too. Um, they have the mindset to run their business, but they also have to have the mindset for themselves to know what's going on inside themselves as well as
well,
the business.
if you don't know what's going on inside of you, you're missing the point. Because life is not about a business, life is not about a family, life is not about money, life is not about health, life is not about meaning. Life is about all of those things. And you're at the core of it, you're at the center of it all.
Yeah.
So if you're the one that's creating all of it. So if you don't understand what's happening inside of you, if you don't understand what drives you, what motivates you, how you think, your weakness or your strength, you're kind of missing the point. Because if you think about it, what is your life? Your life is what you feel and think and at the moment, one moment at a time. So how your body feels in the moment, what goes through your head in one moment, that's your life. And then you add those moments together, that becomes your life. So if you master one moment, just one moment of your life, you can master your whole life. As long as you make sure that you feel great in that moment, your body feels great in that moment, you do the right things. Add those moments up, you have a great day. Add those days up, you have a great week, great month, great year. But everything starts with you becoming aware of who you are, what you are, etc., etc., etc. And that's why awareness is key. And martial arts is a very unique method and tool to work on all of the different faculties and factors of what constitutes a human being. You're working on your awareness, focus, your mental qualities like willpower, patience, confidence, determination, humility, kindness. You're working on your physical quality, literally on your body, making sure that every inch of your body is strong and functional, no matter what age you are. that you feel young, even in your 80s and 90s and 100s. There's no reason to feel that, right? And it's one of those very unique tools that can, kind of work on the whole, all sides of a human being all at once.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I believe that everyone listening to this podcast should train in martial arts. But you have to know what kind of martial arts to train in, because they're not all created equal and they serve different purposes. That's why even our school is not a cookie cutter school. That's another thing I want people to know. It's not like you come in and everyone does the same thing. No, you need different things at different
Yeah.
stages of your life. When you're 12, it's one set of movements that best suited for you and helps you develop what you need to develop when you're 12, when your body is growing. When you're 30, 40, it's a different thing. When you're 70, it's different. But regardless of what age you are, there's a comprehensive sort of set of movements and ideas and principles that you can work on to get closer to realizing your own potential, whether that be physical, mental, spiritual potential. We all have a potential. If we don't work on ourselves, most of that potential will go down 6 feet under with us when we die, or
Yeah.
into the skies if you get you know incinerated at the end, right? It's not going to be, you're not going to see it in this life, in this world. So the only way to realize that most of your potential, you got to do the uncomfortable. You have to push yourself. You have to, and since we're all lazy and selfish, you have to, your best bet is find someone else who will push you and force you to not be lazy and to not be selfish. And that's your best chance of actually getting to discovering, uncovering, and realizing more of who you really are.
Yeah. We've got Jim Branson sitting on the side. Let's see if he wants to come in and ask some questions.
Sure.
Jim, you want to come in and join the conversation? We can't hear you, Jim.
We cannot hear you, Jim. We
We
can't hear
can't
you.
hear you, Jim.
Nope.
No.
Nope. Nope.
No.
Still nope.
Something got unplugged.
Yep, it's the microphone.
So, anyways, well, he fixes that.
Yep.
We'll bring him back.
Yeah. If there's any questions,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking what else. Yeah. So the medicinal
Yeah.
martial arts, the medicinal aspect of martial arts, I would people to know that martial arts is actually the best way to um, prevent things from happening, right? It's you're strengthening, you're proactively addressing issues before they come up, right? Western medicine is kind of reactive. You wait until things break down, you wait until you get your heart attack, or you wait until something breaks and then you go and try to fix it. Well, in martial arts, I'll never be able to prove this to you, but the philosophy of it, because it never happens. How can I prove to you that you didn't get a heart attack in 20 years because you trained for 20 years, right? You can't prove it after
Yeah.
right? So, but common sense, do you need to prove, or or would you rather use common sense? Common sense tells you that if you train, chances of you even having something down the road significantly decrease, even if you cannot avoid it completely. And that's what you do.
Yeah.
You're proactively addressing the future, right? How do you want to feel when you're 80? And it applies this, it's the same thing works with money, right? Instead of kind of living day by
Yeah.
day and just looking at tomorrow, you can ask yourself, well, where do I want to be 20 years from now? What is my goal? Because that'll dictate what you do today. If you set sort of a goal for your future and stick by it, it would force you to reevaluate your current trajectory, because your current trajectory may not be taking you where your stated goal is, right? So you can
Yeah.
do things now to be at a different future, a different point in the future. Same
Yeah.
applies to relationships. What kind of relationship do you want to have with your wife 10 years from now, 20 years from now? If it's great, then you got to do something today to make sure that it continues to become better and better. So it's really
Yeah.
all this, it's the same stuff, the same principles, the same understanding. It's just knowing to apply it across every area of your life, and not just business, not just money, not just that or that.
Yeah. So what would be the best advice for business owners, say?
For business owners, again,
Yeah.
depending on where, what age you are. it- I mean, it's what I teach, like what our lineage teaches. It's pretty unique. So, but even if you start with some sort of training, like for people above 35, I would recommend Tai Chi, Kung Fu, Bagua. Those are the internal martial arts. If you're in your teens or 20s, you can even do things that are external, like karate or taekwondo, for a while, for a few years. Um, but the point, the
Yeah.
main thing is you have to sort of, it's not about doing something like as a hobby or doing something for fun. You know, I don't do this because I like martial arts. I do this because I realize that my whole life stems from how I am. So I got to work on that foundation. So I use martial arts as a
Yeah.
way to work on my foundation, so that everything I build on that foundation becomes better. If you just sign up for a gym class or a yoga class or karate class because, oh, I like karate, let's see how that, it's okay. And you can start there. But ultimately, you have to realize that you need to start to view things differently. You have to work on yourself systematically, not because of anything, not just because by working on yourself, on your physical and mental qualities, you're actually affecting everything in your life. Not just your life, but the lives of everyone's connected to you, because you affect energetically and mentally and physically every single being in your household, be that your kids, your wife, or whoever.
Yeah.
Because if you're stronger, if you're more awake, if you're more alert, more aware, more knowledgeable, more wise, how do you think you're going to affect your kids? Will you be able to teach them something useful down the road or not? So if you want to be always kind of in a position to give something valuable to your kids, that means that you yourself have to be ahead, which means you need to keep moving and keep advancing, keep growing. That divide that happens between children and parents may never actually happen, because, in my opinion, that divide only happens because children a lot of times outgrow. After a while, they outgrow their parents, because parents stopped growing a long time ago. But the kids usually take a few steps beyond them in some, hopefully in most cases, not every time, not in every case, but in some cases they take a few steps, they learn a few steps fast, and now they
Yeah.
understand more than their parents. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Not if parents never stop learning, never stop growing, and never stop pushing themselves to the next level. Then you're always in a position to be of value to your children. You'll always love them regardless, and your kids should love you regardless. But you can actually be of
Yeah.
real life value to them if you keep moving yourself. So
Yeah.
that's
And
another.
then you can, what you do as the kids get older, you can pass it on to them and show them how to do it to keep themselves built up.
Or it's not, you don't have to wait until they get older. I'll give you my own
Start
life
off young.
example. I've been training my son since he was 7 in martial arts. He was training physically, but I was teaching him everything that I was learning at 37. He was learning at 7. And the end result of that is that
Yeah.
he's now 22 years old, and he already has 2 companies under his belt and he hasn't even graduated yet. And he's not
Yeah.
even planning to work for anyone else. He's going to have his own, business, his own company at 22. Something I wasn't even close to at his age. I did not have a clue about anything at all. I just knew how to play musical instruments, and I knew a little bit about computers. That's all. So
Yeah.
and again, that's the advantage. You basically can save your kids a lot of time. You can save
Yeah.
yourself a lot of time by becoming wiser now. so that you don't have to live for 20, 30 years and come up to the same conclusion that you can come up to if you train for 3 years. And a lot of times my students, I see them at 21, and then they come in, let's say at 21, 22, 25, and they look completely, in most cases, not very mature, very confused about life. And 2, 3 years from now, they're different people, different human beings. I don't even recognize them. They look to me like 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds, but they're still 25. So now they can use that wisdom that they acquired in a very short period of time to use these next 20, 30 years to actually apply that wisdom. Because what's the point to be wise, to get wise when you're 80 and when most of your life is done, and then nothing, now you cannot do anything with it. I'd rather be wise like an 80-year-old when I'm 25 or 30, and then have that 50 years to actually apply that wisdom and do cool things. And that's what martial arts training, if you're in the right place at the right time, can do for you. It can accelerate your learning.
Yeah.
So
Before I forget to ask, if someone is interested in what you're saying, how can they get a hold of you?
um, obviously you can reach me directly, Igor, Igor, at bodymindsystems.com. You can also go to the website, bodymindsystems.com, and just either ask a question or request a trial. And we always do, free trials. I'm not trying to force anyone to train. Because on one hand, I don't care whether people stay or go. I'm not trying to, again, I don't look at people that come in as clients. I'm just trying to find fellow human beings that would like to sort of grow and get better, so that they one day can help other people as well. So they can just fill out a form, reach out to me any which way, and I'll gladly take anyone through a free trial so that I can actually explain, using specifics. Right now I'm just talking, and talking doesn't do anything. It may sound nice, but it goes in one ear, out the other, right? But when you actually see it done in front of you and with you, you have a better sort of understanding of where you could be or where it could lead. So
Yeah. Let's check in with Jim. Jim, were you able to get that fixed?
no.
Nope. All right. Let's see if my buddy Kurt is available for any questions. Kurt, are you out there? Kurt. Kurt may not be available. So, I know he does have another show coming up at 6 o'clock hour. I get in trouble before because I went over one time, and
No, that's not a problem.
I try to keep it cut short a little bit.
Mhm.
Give him time to reorganize for the next show.
Mhm.
So, and if anybody out there is interested in getting hold of me, either about decide being on Alignable, if you have any questions or how to get involved with Alignable, I'm an ambassador up here in the Merrimack Valley River, Merrimack River Valley Lines up here in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Name of my company is Mill City Marketing, MA. I got the Silver Award. Been confused here. This side. The Silver Award for the Alliance for last year, which was my first year with the Alliance. So I'm pretty proud of that. I'm going for the gold one this year. And then up here we have the Built with Purpose book that recently came out. There's 42 authors in this book. Can't say it too well. It is available on Amazon, $18. Me and a buddy of mine who is also an author in the book. There's 42 people from Alignable. We each have a chapter in that book. We kind of describe how we got started in business, what some of the things that we went through, and why we do what we do. Um, so if anybody's looking for any encouragement or had problems that they're running into, that book is probably well, not probably, it will be helped. I don't foresee anybody reading that book and not getting at least one thing out of it. Um, so you can go get that on Amazon, which makes it available around the world. So if you know anybody in any other countries that have a small business or thinking of it, that's a good book to start with. If there is going to be a series of those books coming out. This one is a little bit of every niche, every type of business, and the following ones will be the book will be based on individual types of businesses. They're working on one for women entrepreneurs, one for military entrepreneurs, women in construction, believe it or not, um, reinvented entrepreneurs, which are people that went from one business to another, um, RV entrepreneurs, and those are all books that they are working on now. And if you want to get involved with them, you can go to businesswithpurpose.org. Um, they have the pictures of the books that they're working on right now. And it won't take long, folks, because this book started at the beginning of the year. It came out in print April 2nd. So these people that put the books together are very active, very quick. They've been through books for years. One lady had her own publishing company, and she's the one who publishes the book. The other one has been in a couple different um, compilation books with other authors, and it's a series to keep an eye on, folks, on Amazon. Um, you know yourself, Igor, from Tuesday, I have books available.
Mhm.
So if anyone is in the area, I I have an in-person networking once a month up here in Drake, Mass. Third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. And there is one in Waltham that I go to every month, which is where Igor and myself met on Tuesday. That's in the afternoon at noontime in Waltham, Mass. Um, a lot of those people that are in the book have books that have in-person events. So if you want to attend one, um, if you have a business and you want alignable, check out the events in your local area for in-person ones. And I'm sure they'll probably have some books with them or can get them for you. Or, and like we were doing on Tuesday, me and another person that's an author up in Massachusetts here, we're autographing them. Or you can just get them on Amazon for $18. That's pretty much it for me. If you want to get a hold of me, you can find me on Amazon. Um, I have pages on pretty much every social media. And if you are a business and you're interested in marketing, feel free to get a hold of me. I can do social media, radio all across the country, and I am also involved with doing commercials on live stream TV and some primetime stations, and more coming down the road. If you're interested in being in this podcast, go to my website, go to my calendar link. I have a tab in there for the podcast, as well as for personal one-on-ones. My email is millcitymarketing@gmail.com. My website is Mill City Business Help with one S at the end of business.com. That's how you can get a hold of me. Sue, you available for last minute comments? I know she was going on her phone because she happened to be at work.
I
Uh,
am here. This has been a wonderful
yes, she is.
conversation.
Are you able to
So,
come
yeah,
in here, Sue?
there we go. So
There we go.
I'm this has been a lovely conversation, and it's been very, very interesting hearing more about martial arts, because that keeps coming around. That conversation has been in front of me multiple times recently, and it's making me think I just need to pay attention. Maybe
Mhm.
there's a reason why that keeps coming in front of me here. So,
Yep.
and it was interesting too to hear, because so I'm 54, so I appreciate that you were able to share more too about where somebody, like, where would I start if I was to begin in something like this?
There's
It
no there's no time or age. I'm 52 by the way. I'm not a spring chicken myself, and that's why it's important to know what to practice. There's certain things that I used to do in my youth that I don't do anymore. But if I have a 20-year-old, I'll do it with them. And so it's a lot about it. There's a lot of education in martial arts. And most people, again, I don't blame you, because what's being shoved down everyone's throats on TV and in the media is the superficial side of martial arts, the fighting, the MMA, the the just stupid. In my mind,
uh-huh.
I'm looking at that, and it's stupid, and I don't blame people for sidestepping it, because you say to yourself, I'm not that crazy person. I don't enjoy knocking someone's teeth out, so martial arts is not for me. And because that's what's shoved down your throats, that's what you see. It ruins and pollutes the true meaning of martial arts for 99% of people. Because if only they knew that the solution to all of your trouble, all of your problems is right in front of your face, schools like ours will be full with people, because everyone's got something that they need to improve. If it's either health, if it's not health, it's money. If it's not money, it's health. If it's not either of those things, it's relationships. If it's neither of those three things, it's meaning. What are you doing with your life? Maybe you have money, maybe you're even somewhat healthy, but whatever you're doing, is that really that meaningful to you? Would you still be doing that if you had $100 million in the bank? So, and again, the answers to all of those questions lie within you. You need to become more aware of how you are, who you are, what you are, and that's the process. It's a process, and that's why everyone should train. Everyone should become, strip away all these layers of nonsense that we all adopt from our childhood and throughout our life, from our parents, from the media, from the environment that we're in. There's a lot of BS, there's a lot of falsehoods that we adopt, and we don't question it. And then it becomes just how we look at the world. And that's why our life ends up being what it is, because of all these false ideas, false beliefs about many different things. Once you start to strip away all that falseness, and you're left with the truth, and the truth is that you have control over every aspect of your life. You're as powerful as anyone. You could create any type of life you want, but not if you don't believe it. So the first step is you have to realize that that's the truth. And once you start living your life out of that position, out of that vantage point, everything starts to go according to that belief system and not whatever you currently have. So yeah, martial arts is deep, and that's the reason it's been practiced by people for thousands of years. It goes back to China, 5,000 years back. There's got to be something in it for 4,000, but for 5,000 years, people have been doing it, right? So you have to be just open to, what is it? But you're not going to find out what is it if you don't take the first step. It's like seeing a master violinist on the stage, and it's like, oh, he's really good at violin. But if you keep just looking at him from the from wherever the audience sits, I can't even come. I'm losing my English, right? Then you'll never know what it feels to be a great violinist. If you never touch the violin, take the violin, you'll never know. I compare
Yeah.
like the intellectual type versus, there's two sides of knowledge, right? You have like, I compare things to music a lot of times because it makes it easier to understand. If you compare living a successful life, like being like a master violinist on stage, then someone who practices daily, that's the master violinist. That's the guy on stage that can plays that violin, Mendelssohn's violin concerto, if you're into violin, right? And the person sitting in the audience, the critic, that's the Western mind. That's the intellectual type, right? The critic in the audience, they know everything about the violin. They know everything about how it works. They know everything about the history of the musician, his biography, all the different types of stages of his life. But the critic in the audience never took the violin, never touched the violin even once. So he'll never experience the world that the master on the stage experiencing every time they take a violin into their hands. So it's neither or. If you can have an ability, be the violinist and the critic, but it's certainly not enough to be just the critic. And if I had to choose, I'd rather be the master violinist on the stage playing beautiful music than the guy in the audience that knows everything about the violin playing. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So don't stay on the
Absolutely.
sidelines. Just try it. Take the first step and then experience it for yourself, because this is not something you can intellectually understand. You have to experience it. And then you'll know.
Yeah.
The
All right,
truth,
we're
the truth will set you free. Last thing.
yeah. And we are coming up to the end of our time here. So, folks, be here every Friday, live at 5 Eastern Time. This is Revolutionize Your Marketing. Try bringing in guests every week to help give people ideas on marketing, how to help them out with their business. And if you want to see some of my previous ones, you can go to YouTube, type in Mill City Marketing MA, and my podcast will come up there and you can tune in live. This is live streamed on YouTube and it's posted on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So yes, I do get the word out. You want to promote your business, talk to me on a one-on-one on my calendar link, and then we can book a time for the podcast, folks. So, and thank you, Igor, for coming.
Thank you for
Very
having me.
interesting topic.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm sure people have now been thinking about martial arts in a different way.
That's my hope.
So, folks, thanks for listening. And if you're watching the recording, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, folks. And you'll get notified when new ones come out. So until next week, have a pleasant and healthy weekend and upcoming week.